Welcome back to Cranky Commentaries. As always, my name is Jack Time Astro, and I'm joined by my very good friend Keaton Byer. Hello, Keaton.
What if we had, like, a real crane on as a guest, man?
What's up?
So, what film are we talking about this week?
Yeah, so intro there by Huey Lewis, and no, we're not talking about Back to the Future.
No.
We are talking about the second part of Pineapple Express.
Yes, which is the production, all parts of it, I guess.
Pre and post.
Indeed.
And during.
Yeah.
And all places.
Yes. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
All places of abduction.
Yes.
So last week we talked kind of mostly about, we got like our themes down and like...
Yeah.
We
talked a little bit about, you know, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and their history.
Exactly. We set it up. And
yeah.
And by themes, I mean theme.
Yeah, there's one theme.
One singular theme. Should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so what do we got to say about the production of this film?
Well, first of all, the idea for the character of Saul, which is, I think that's kind of, the movie was based around the character of Saul, which kind of makes sense. It was based off of, I don't know if you've seen this film, I think you have, we've talked about it before, True Romance.
You know what? I have another confession to make. I've never seen True Romance.
Oh, really? You should check it out. It's a good film. It's got Brad Pitt in it.
I think that was the exact reaction that we had last time it was mentioned.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Harkens way back to episode number 1, probably.
Right, because we're talking about Tony Scott.
Yeah, Tony Scott, director of True Romance.
Yeah.
In that film is a character played by Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Who spends most of his time... Did you watch that clip that I sent you? I sent you a clip that has like a...
Did you? Oh, right, okay, yeah.
It's Floyd is basically, he's just this stoner character who's got like long hair. It's Brad Pitt. He talks like this, man. And he's just throughout the movie, he's not a main character, he's a side character. He only shows up a few times, but throughout the movie...
This was fairly early in his career.
Yeah. Throughout the movie, he just like sits on the couch and smokes weed, and it's just great lines from Brad Pitt. Great acting from Brad Pitt.
Right.
But you should check that out. His character.
I mean, yeah, no, I feel like I should. I just, haven't had the time.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many movies.
There's a lot of fucking movies, dude.
There are a lot of movies.
And you know what? I spent a lot.
We've been making them for over 100 years now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
There's a fucking lot of them. And I spend so much time rewatching ones I've already seen.
I know. It's like...
And
they're still making them.
There's fucking so many. They should probably stop. What if they just stopped for like 5 years? Do you think...
I mean, they're not making as many right now.
No, it's true, but... I mean, it's still not enough. We need a sweet... Like, what do you think? Like 5 years? Stop. Like,
if they just stopped making movies for 5 years,
just let us catch up. I mean, I know we couldn't catch up.
well, you couldn't really catch up, but like,
But
I don't know.
you could do some damage in 5 years
Yeah.
with nothing new. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
not.
No, like I could watch movies for 5 years and definitely like anybody could watch fucking 5 years worth of movies and not have a repeat.
Oh yeah, easy.
Like not have seen a movie that they've already seen before.
And like,
it's just like, do you want to try?
yeah, I don't know if we're counting like if you have a job and like commitments and stuff, or if you just wake up. Anyway, this is a whole.
I mean, obviously, if you if you have literally nothing to do, yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, it definitely, makes watching 5,000 movies. Wait, why did I don't know why I went to 5,000 movies.
I don't know.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Well,
how I haven't seen True Romance is the whole point. The whole point of this is I have not seen True Romance.
Yeah, well, the character is Floyd. So if you want just a crash course, look up Floyd True Romance, and you'll get the basis for the Saul character. Originally, Seth Rogen intended to play Saul.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of weird.
Yeah,
now that
it's kind of weird.
Been the other way.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that like in this movie you have like the two main characters, and Dale, who's played by Seth Rogen, is kind of the straight man, as much as there can be a straight man.
Yeah. There's not like straight man doesn't exist in this movie, but yes, he is the straight man. Which is hilarious. So apparently, yeah. So Rogen was gonna play Saul, and then
I can't even imagine that.
I know, it's so weird. Like,
yeah,
like I would like to see it, like, but I don't know how it would have been.
Yeah. Okay, so wait. I don't think we've actually mentioned this. We've mentioned Judd Apatow like a million times, but what is his actual? Like,
what is this? I don't
movie?
even. You know what? We didn't even mention the director in part one. I don't think we mentioned his name.
But I don't think we did. David Gordon Green was the director.
Honestly, it's not that important to this film as
it's not that important
as in the grand scheme. Like his career is kind of interesting in the sense because his career started off. He did a bunch of dramatic films.
Okay.
And then he switched to comedy, of which this is his best.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of weird.
But anyway, it doesn't seem like that he, put that particularly interesting of a mark on this. I don't know.
No, I
don't know.
Maybe, but
maybe
there's just so many other people who came first creatively.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems very clear that like Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are driving the bus here.
Yeah, exactly. This is their movie.
Yeah. But anyway, Judd Apatow is the producer.
Yeah, that's what we were getting at there.
And it was also produced through his production company.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this was 2008. I guess, yeah, he was king of Hollywood at this point.
Yeah.
Judd Apatow.
What did he do in 2008? Well, he did this movie. He produced it. He wrote "Don't Mess with the Zohan."
He wrote that? Oh, yikes!
Yeah,
like that's the thing. Like we got into it a bit last week, but just like there's so much trash in the comedy landscape. Like we talked about it a bit when we talked.
This was right after coming off the fucking comedy gold of Walk Hard.
Yeah, it's true. Fucking gold.
I know.
It is fucking gold. That's the thing. I guess that's how it works with comedy films, though, is you kind of have to, like, wade through trash. And we did talk about it a little bit on the Zoolander episode, and we don't want to rehash.
So I want to be clear, though, that he only wrote it. He did not produce or direct it.
Walk Hard.
No, Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh, Don't Mess with the Zohan. Yeah.
Walk Hard, he produced
and wrote. Oh, I didn't know he wrote it. Yeah. Cool.
So it seems like, I don't know. I don't know how many other people had their hands in Don't Mess with the Zohan. So
I mean, that's an Adam Sandler.
Fully put that on him.
An Adam Sandler film, isn't it?
Exactly, it is.
No, I mean, I'm not
Have you seen it?
No.
It's fucking bizarre.
I've seen the trailer, and I think that's honestly as far as I need to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if we did an episode on that, you wouldn't be able to hear us talking over the um worst accent theme.
Oh god!
Don't point that thing at me. We'll just be playing over and over and
You'll just
over
be
again.
playing that all over the time.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Oh yeah, so this is a great little piece of trivia. So this is 2008. That it came out. 2007 would have been when they were making / casting it, or maybe early 2008. Anyway, allegedly, I read that Bryan Cranston auditioned for the role of Ted, the head drug dealer, but Judd Apatow didn't think he'd be convincing as a drug dealer. So little fun, but I mean, like, obviously, if you dig into that at all, it's like, obviously it's a totally different type of drug dealer, and actually,
well, definitely,
and actually, I don't know that Bryan.
Also,
Cranston...
this is a comedy.
Exactly. But it's a fun.
But anyway, I think that that what's his name, Gary Cole, does a fantastic job as Ted.
Yeah, he's kind of like...
And he's perhaps the dumbest character in the movie.
Yeah, he arguably is the dumbest character, which is saying something.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck. So why were we here?
We're talking about Bryan Cranston. Could never play a drug dealer.
Yeah, never. Those of you who don't know, he did in Breaking Bad. For those of you who haven't heard of Breaking Bad, TV's Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we talked about the budget a little bit. I found this really interesting because I was watching like an interview with Seth Rogen about it, about this movie. And so initially they wanted $40 million to make it. Which they could have got. They could have got if it wasn't a weed film.
Right.
Which makes sense, totally. Because, like, it's a Judd Apatow film. He's on top of his game. Come on.
You know, they're going to give... Judd Apatow is going to get $40 million, right? From Sony. But, you know, I do, like, get Sony's thinking on that.
Oh, of course.
It's just like, come on, you don't need fucking $40 million for your silly weed movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean... I mean, that being said, they raked in $106 million off of this silly weed movie. So, like, so actually, they could have given them $40 million.
Well, no, but I mean, you know, in a sense, they've been vindicated because they only gave them $26 million and they made that profit anyway.
But imagine what kind of movie they could have done with $40 million. It could have been 3 times. I don't know.
I'm not sure that I watched this movie and I'm like, oh man, if they had a little bit more money.
Not a little bit more.
Yeah, no, like 30% more.
Yeah.
Like 40% more money. Like
a lot more money. They could have had.
Yeah, but
they could have had
like, I don't
Willis.
look at the movie and I'm like, you know, this needs more money.
They could have had like 2 more stars.
Right.
Like they could have Bruce Willis.
I don't know if that would have made it better.
They could have had Christopher Walken.
Oh,
Christopher Walken would have made
Christopher Walken play.
They would have had to write a whole new character for Christopher Walken. I'm sure.
Exactly.
He could have been Ted.
Anyway.
But yeah, the interesting thing was that because it only says the budget is $26 million. But in this interview, Seth Rogen says that they also spent that much on marketing.
Okay.
And he said like that was normal, which I like knew that they spent a lot on marketing, and it often wasn't listed in.
I have no fucking clue how marketing works.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
There's that conversation. I have no idea how marketing works. It's true. I don't either. But yeah.
I mean, it seems to cost a lot of money.
So they spent about $26 million on marketing, which included a billboard on Sunset Boulevard that actively smoked.
Like it was putting smoke out into the air.
Yeah. Click that link right there.
Okay, let's do this.
It actively. So it's for those of you who aren't Jake. It's it's the film poster which had like the two leads looking really stoned and then a pineapple in between them,
Yeah.
and then this billboard on Sunset Boulevard, the pineapple just billows smoke out of the top.
I mean, if I saw that, I would probably call the fire department. It doesn't. It looks like it could be accidentally on fire.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, that's the thing. Is like when I that's Jake gave like that's the thing. People call the fire department. Too many people called the fire department, so they had to take it down. But that's the thing. Is like why wouldn't I guess they couldn't maybe, but why wouldn't they make it like be a joint? You know, that's smoking.
Yeah, that would be more obvious.
Because like
It's just a pineapple. The pineapple is like smoke is billowing from the pineapple.
yeah,
like
it looks like the building that the billboard's on is ablaze.
I know, it really does. I don't know. Maybe the reason they didn't want to do it is because it would be like considered obscene.
I guess, but this is Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is like, if anywhere you could. I mean, I guess it was 2008. Is a
Yeah, I
bit
don't
more
know.
dicey. They
Was it legal then?
I think they had medical.
They decriminalized it.
Yeah, I think it was medical.
Actually, they say in the movie
Yeah.
that it's decriminalized, but then like they get arrested anyway because they were selling it to minors, which
Exactly.
is still illegal.
Yeah. Exactly. That scene is hilarious.
Yeah.
Basically, like this movie came from, I said last episode, the true romance character mixed with what if that guy got dragged off of the couch and into an action movie.
I think that was this episode.
Oh, did I say that this episode?
Yeah. You said that like literally like 10 minutes ago.
No, well, I mentioned true romance, but I didn't mention the dragged off
Oh,
of
okay. Okay, yeah, no, you didn't. But you didn't mention that last episode either.
Didn't I? Oh, you know what
no,
it
you
was?
didn't.
You know what it was? It was I was gonna say them being sitting on the couch, being like, "What if someone tried to kill us right now?"
Yeah.
So like,
what if they tracked us through the fucking weed, man?
Dude, what if
they knew it was Pineapple Express? And since I'm the only guy that has Pineapple Express, I'm the only one you sold it to. Like,
so we're like the only two guys that have it. Only two guys in the city, man.
that part was so on the nose.
Yeah, it's so good.
It was just like, yeah, we understand that this is a bit of a stretch, but just go with it.
Exactly. Like that is.
There are some parts in this movie where it really tests the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, like the whole bit with Red. I was just thinking, like, dude, get this fucking dude to a hospital.
yeah. No.
Like, why are you still here?
He was supposed to die. Actually, speaking of it,
Yeah.
the first time he gets killed, which is I believe, when Matheson shoots him.
Right, but then they got to bring him back because he's got to fucking kill. Does he kill Ted? No, he kills what's his name?
Matheson.
Matheson. Yeah.
Yeah, but originally in the script, he that was the end of it. Matheson just kills him, but they thought Danny
Right.
McBride was funny, so they wrote
Yeah,
it back
it's
in.
pretty funny.
They wrote it back in. Yeah, I was gonna talk about this. I'll talk about it now. Danny McBride is like, he is funny, but he's a very 2008 sort of funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eastbound and Down, I think, was a little bit different, and I think that had more going on. But like his brand of comedy in film, like what was the last film you saw him in?
Oh, I don't even fucking know.
Like
Probably a film from like 10 years ago.
exactly, yeah. Like I don't think his brand of comedy would like he's kind of funny
Right.
in context as like a unhinged person,
Mm-hmm.
but like that kind of unhinged is starting to become a bit scary and like, you know, like
Right.
and it's just not funny anymore. Not scary might be the wrong word. It's not that it's scary, it's just that it's not funny.
Unsettling.
Yeah. It's just not
Yeah.
funny. That might be reading too much into it, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can quite pin that down, but
it's a thought.
yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about? We're talking about the production now.
Yeah.
What I assembled here in my notes for the production are 75% um from the mouth of Seth Rogen.
Right. So it must be true.
It must be true, yes. He, on the 10-year anniversary of Pineapple Express, he released a bunch of awesome information. So we're going to go through
Cool.
that now.
Awesome. So this first fact, I thought you want to go ahead and just go with it because I had some thoughts about this.
Yeah, so Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg rolled 100 cross joints required for filming that scene because nobody else knew how to roll a cross joint. So they had to actually do it, and they needed 100 of them apparently to film that scene.
Here's why I asked earlier whether or not weed was legal when they were filming it in California because this was filmed in California. It's because I seriously doubt they needed 100 cross joints.
Probably needed. You're probably
I think
right.
they maybe needed 10 cross joints to do that scene.
You're probably right. Here's what I think is what happened.
Because I
here.
mean, like, if they are actually lighting it, like, obviously they have to, like use the whole cross joint for the take.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't reuse it in the next take.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it would take you that. I don't think it would take you 100 takes.
But also, first
to
of
get
all,
that short period where they burn the cross joint.
yeah, of course, no. But first of all, I don't think they're using real marijuana.
Right.
Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, that would make sense because, like, if you're doing a take where you actually have to smoke the weed.
yeah, exactly. First of all, there's
if you do
that.
a bunch of takes, you're just gonna get way too fucking high.
Exactly. You can't just like smoke all fucking day. And
Well, here's what I was thinking. I'm thinking like they rolled 100 cross joints that they smoked over the course of the filming of the movie, just casually.
yeah, that's probably
I think that's, and then they just said, "Oh, we did it for that one scene, right?"
yeah. Well, Seth Rogen was saying that in that interview that I watched, like I think he is very open about his weed usage, and he smokes all the time basically, and it's part of his...
did you see the fucking PSA he did about COVID-19?
No, I didn't.
He was just saying like, yeah, don't go out, just stay home and smoke weed.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah,
Exactly. I thought it
exactly.
was really funny.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the just a little aside in the comedians in cars getting coffee episode that he's in, um, Jerry Seinfeld goes to his and Evan Goldberg's office, just to pick him up, and just their desk is like it's a big desk with two computers facing each other with a bong.
Oh, so they both work like right up against each other.
Yeah, it's just a room with computers facing each other with a huge bong in the middle of a table. And they don't talk about it at all, but it's just in the shot.
It's obviously.
I just thought that was funny. But
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
He said in the interview that he doesn't like to smoke on set because it makes him paranoid because there's so many people.
I can
around.
understand that.
Of course, I understand that.
Yeah. I mean, especially because this whole fucking movie is just like a fucking paranoid weed. Like
exactly.
It's it's their paranoid imagination.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Although it's real in the movie.
Yeah, it's real.
Anyway, the whole point is I don't doubt that they rolled 100 cross joints.
But I
doubt that they needed 100 cross joints.
You have a suspicion that some of those may have been authentic cross joints that got...
I think some of those may have been authentic cross joints.
I think you might be correct about that.
Yeah.
So, the next fact is, if you recall, when Saul... What's the guy's name who he doesn't like? The lingerer, man. Fucking lingerer.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, what's his name?
Tom or something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The weed I thought you would like this fact.
Yeah.
The lower grade weed that's not the Pineapple Express that he sells him is called Snickle Fritz.
Yeah.
And they got the name Snickle Fritz because that's that's what the practical effects supervisor would call his second in command when he was pissing him off.
Oh yeah. Hey, Snickle Fritz.
Snickle Fritz, what are you fucking doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, that's funny. Uh, I mean, Snickle Fritz also sounds like a shitty weed.
It is actually like perfect. It's like kind of onomatopoeic somehow. I guess that's not the right word for that at all, but it does sound right.
Right. Yeah.
Why is that? What is the? There must be some sort of like.
It's melodic.
Yeah, but there's got to be some sort of reason. Like, what are we associating here?
I don't know.
Is there like another word?
I'm just visualizing what it looks like.
Yeah, me too. But there's got to be a reason for why we're visualizing it. It's like stemmy and like.
Yeah.
It's full just.
It's like kind of dark.
Yeah.
Like
leafy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the kind of stuff you want.
So apparently there was some health and safety things that were not fully looked after, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of injury on this film. They did pretty much all their own stunts, I think.
Right.
Which maybe was a bad idea because...
Yeah, I mean, it was super convincing.
Yeah, well, that's that initial fight scene, kind of like when it turns into an action film. With like
you're talking about the fight scene between Red and Dale.
Yeah, Red, Dale, and Saul. It's mostly
right.
Red
Saul
and Dale.
Doesn't really do much of it, but yeah, it's Red.
He's
and Dale
in it a bit
mostly.
at the beginning. He gets his balls crushed, I guess.
Yeah.
That is such a brutal fight scene. Like it's.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it probably looks so brutal because, as we found out, it was.
Yeah.
So there were 2 injuries.
Yeah, like.
Right.
Yeah, the first one.
To 2 different actors.
Yeah, for one fight scene. You'd think that'd be a red flag.
Yeah.
It's good.
You think? I don't know. They must not be doing something right.
Well, I mean,
like, because usually, like, Hollywood's pretty fucking on the ball about that.
Yeah, it's. I think because Seth Rogen mentioned in an interview that one of the later fight scenes was improvised.
Oh.
And I've never heard of that before.
Improvising a fight scene?
Yeah, with
I
comedians.
think that maybe makes sense with, like, trained, like, fucking stunt people.
Yeah,
but not with fucking Seth Rogen and Danny McBride.
Exactly. So maybe I'm not positive that he wasn't talking about this fight scene when he said that, so I'm not positive, but there may have been some improvisation that happened.
Right.
But
yeah, no, I do not trust, like, a fucking, talented actor, maybe, but, not somebody who's trained in fucking stage combat.
No.
To improvise a fight scene.
So Seth Rogen broke one of his fingers. I don't know how.
Right.
But rewatch it.
Yeah, you might be able to see it.
Might be able to see
Was the take used?
I don't know. But
yeah, was it like fucking Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible breaking his leg or whatever?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did use it.
Yeah.
Because I think the shot where they hit Danny McBride with the bong, because that like cracked his head open apparently. Like that actually.
Okay, define open.
I can't because that's all they said.
Oh, okay, so that's the term they use. Cracked his head open.
So because what didn't seem very dramatic about it when he was talking about it, I imagine that it wasn't that bad. Like it was like it should have just not hurt him at all, and it like he got a cut on the back of his head from.
Okay. Were they using an actual bong?
No, there's no way. There's no
Like,
way.
generally they use, like, some fucking rubber thing, like, for this.
Or like fake glass. They have like a fake glass for that sort of thing, right?
Oh, yeah, no, the sugar glass.
Sugar glass, yeah.
Yeah, you're not...
So like that must have been like maybe like you're just not supposed to, because it was like a beaker, you know? Like the weight actually still did some damage even though it was sugar glass. He was still
I
like
don't know,
swinging like a heavy thing at his
Yeah.
head because he hit him pretty
Yes.
fucking hard.
He did hit him pretty hard, but, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Like think about it.
I suspect something was not being properly handled.
Yeah, no, it seems that way in this fight scene. It seems like whoever was in charge of
Yeah. Or there wasn't anybody in charge.
yeah, Judd Apatow was in charge.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, like, you know, it's probably on him to, like, make sure that somebody's in charge.
It literally is on him. He's a producer.
Yeah.
It's his job to make sure somebody's there to do that.
Well, I mean, it might be fucking the director's job. I don't know.
I suppose that's true, but if the director fails to do that, it's his job, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, speaking of like injuries that are on like that make it into the final cut, that's not the only one.
Oh, yeah?
So I guess I misspoke a bit. The moment it becomes an action movie is not that fight scene. It's the fight scene with the cell phones.
The fights. So when they break the cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that might be a bit of a stretch, but okay.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a stretch, but that when that is so brutal when Dale trips and hits his face on the rock.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Oof.
But then Saul runs into the tree. Apparently there was actually like an exposed screw
Ooh.
that caused some damage
Was it
there.
in the tree?
Well, because I think they had like some like pads screwed into the tree to like.
Oh,
Or like-
so by trying to put some cushioning force on him to not hurt him, they ended up hurting him way more.
It seems that way, yeah. And he had to get a few stitches apparently.
Yeah.
And Seth Rogen says that's why Saul is wearing a headband, is because he had a head injury.
Jokes. Yeah, that's definitely the fucking actors union should probably be looking into this movie.
Seriously, at this point, it's like
Yeah.
whoever was in charge of stunts did a horrible, horrible job.
I mean, they did a horrible job at keeping it safe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, everything looked fine, but I mean, obviously, I guess I feel like most of your job as handling stunts is to make sure that you do it in a way that nobody gets hurt.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna get political here for a moment.
Oh, I don't think we got too political. We'll just mention something that tangentially relates to politics.
So, several times throughout this movie, Red mentions his wife
Yeah.
that's in jail.
Yeah.
And in his house, you can see they put a picture of him and his wife,
Yeah.
who is played by, in that photo, is played by adult film actress Stormy Daniels.
Well, I don't know. Like, the thing is, I don't know if Stormy Daniels would like if we associated her just existence with fucking politics, specifically DT there.
No, you're totally right. That's an excellent point. It isn't, but it is still vaguely topical.
Vaguely, yeah.
But no, you're right. It isn't fair to equate her entire existence, but that is the only way that...
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why we know who she is.
Exactly.
Because...
Exactly. To be honest, I'm not going to lie to you here. I don't know her work.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. She almost ran for the Senate in Louisiana in 2010.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Somehow suspect that would have been a
And yeah,
futile bid, but okay.
perhaps, but she had. So there you go. So there is a good reason to connect her
What?
politically.
Oh, because
Beyond.
she considered running for Senate.
Yeah. In 2009, a recruitment effort led her to consider challenging incumbent David Vitter for the 2010 Senate election. Okay, so we can move on now.
Which she ultimately decided not to.
No,
do.
she didn't, but she considered it. It was considered.
Right.
So, next fun fact from Seth Rogen is that oh yeah, so Red kills Matheson by crushing him with his car by driving it through the side of the barn. And
Yes.
initially, Red killed Matheson with a Ford Fiesta, but Ford doesn't allow their vehicles to appear in on-screen murders.
That is a fair position, I think.
Yeah, that's a fine take to have.
Yeah.
But so they had to change it to a Daewoo Lanos,
Right.
which Seth Rogen said
I think that's funnier.
That's what Seth Rogen said.
Yeah.
It was ultimately funnier. It's totally. Should they have the right though to?
What? Oh, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know
if
if
not
it's
censorship?
No, I mean, because I don't know if you need me to like recite to you what the legal definition of censorship is,
but that's not it.
Yeah. Anyway, what am I saying? It's probably not exactly that. Because it's like, yeah, you can. Like they probably couldn't use like the name. They probably couldn't call it a Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, because they call it a Daewoo, like on screen, because obviously Ford Fiesta is a trademark, right?
Yeah.
And so Ford obviously has. Anyway, the whole point is like, I don't think that using a car to murder somebody on screen is necessarily fair use.
Fair point. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Like, because like in this, Ford could make the case. I think that it's damaging to their brand.
I suppose they could. I mean, it would be
Yeah.
a weak case. Arguably,
Yeah,
killing
but I mean, like it's
drug dealers. It's murdering drug
it's
dealers.
probably not a. It's probably not anything that Seth Rogen would want to deal with.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't know anything about Daewoo.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're actually well, I mean, they're obviously not that common over here, but they're actually a much bigger company. They don't just make cars.
Right, they do other things.
Yeah, they're a very large company.
But clearly they felt okay being associated as a murder, a tool of murder.
I don't know. I guess they didn't give enough shits. I don't think.
They saw it as the brand boosting that it was.
Exactly, because I don't think Ford needs the publicity.
No, exactly.
But I mean, like, when was the last time you saw a Daewoo out on the road?
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
I literally can't remember.
Exactly.
So I guess we can move on from this section.
Yeah. Oh well, there's the one more fact here with the diner scene. Is that the whole thing is completely improvised, and that kind of shows.
It very much shows. Which gives this movie.
It's like, because the scene doesn't seem to know when to end.
The movie has such a meandering end, and it's because of this. And I wonder if, it clearly was on purpose that they left it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't in the script, the diner scene.
I mean, it seems kind of weird. Like, it seems kind of weird with because the whole thing, it's like, it's about, those two becoming or realizing that they're really good friends, right?
Yeah.
And then they throw in this third guy near the end, and he just seems kind of like a third wheel. It seems kind of weird.
Well, it is kind of weird. Like, it is true. It does go off the rails at the end there.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, it goes a bit off the rails at the end there.
It goes off the rails before that.
Wow, just
Like, the last half hour of the movie is fully on no rails.
yeah, rails disappear pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, yeah, he's kind of just forced in, I think, because they liked Danny McBride.
Yeah, they like Danny McBride, so obviously they...
And they decided that
tweaked it.
his presence in the second half of the movie was worth the effect that his presence had on the story, because it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't make as much sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense, but it from a storytelling standpoint, he should not have been there.
No, definitely not.
If this was a book
It undermines the point a little bit.
exactly in Pineapple Pineapple Express, the novelization.
Oh God, is that a real thing?
Probably, but if not, you should write it and you can make the necessary alterations.
Oh God, I have no need to write that.
So we're trying out a new segment here.
Yeah, it might be super boring, but we'll find out.
Well,
You'll let us know.
it'll be there's no way it could be. So what are we gonna call it? Do you have a name for it picked out?
I don't. I mean, I was thinking it's like, how did they shoot it, or how did they? I don't know.
How did they shoot it?
How did they shoot it?
How did they shoot it?
Okay, so I was watching the movie and sort of picking up where we left off when we were talking about Knives Out. I have a question for you.
It's themed from our debate in Knives Out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really that much of a debate, but anyway.
Oh yeah, right.
It was...
Of course.
So I was looking at the movie while I was watching it, and I was trying to decide: do you think they shot this on film, or do you think it was shot digitally, Keaton? What do you think?
I think this was digital because the reason that I think that is not because of how it looked at all. Because actually there were parts of it that I thought might have even looked a bit film-like, but we had that conversation.
Right.
But just in terms of who made it and when, I'm going to go with digital.
Okay. Well, it was shot on film, Keaton.
No, what?
So here's the thing. I think a lot of people have misconceptions about when the changeover to digital happened.
Okay.
Because it was a lot more recent than I think a lot of people really understand.
After 2008.
Basically, like, up until like 2010, most movies were shot on film.
Really? I thought, I'm among the masses that thought not.
Yeah, like, most people had cameras on their phones before movies started shooting on majority on digital.
That's so weird.
And, well, I mean, the reason for that is mainly just because, like, film has just so much information, so it didn't really become practical to shoot, like, a Hollywood movie on digital until, like, 4K cameras came around.
It kind of just seems to me that, like, while the technology exists, just converting it is, while that's easier, and while you're getting a good product out of that, do that for as long as possible, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also, like, given how costly films are, it's like the budgetary, like, cost of the film wasn't that big of a portion of it.
Right.
So yes, this movie, this silly weed movie, was shot on film.
That's amazing.
Specifically, it was shot on 35 millimeter Super 35 format
Super 35.
which is yeah. So okay, so what that I should probably explain what that means. Basically, so this movie's widescreen, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually a little bit unusual for a comedy.
Very unusual for a comedy, isn't it?
Because it's a widescreen 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio, which is, pretty wide for a comedy. Normally or historically, the way that you would get a widescreen aspect ratio like that is you would use anamorphic lenses.
Okay. Right.
Which
yeah.
is
Right.
a special lens that it compresses the image down so that it fits on the same piece of film and then is widened back out. Normally, that's the way you would do widescreen.
Right.
Widescreen, a 2.35 to 1 widescreen.
Right.
But this was done on what's called Super 35, which is essentially it's a method of increasing the space you get on the 35 millimeter film by getting rid of the soundtrack, and then this was done on what's called 3perf, where essentially they just crop the image and put more frames on the same length of film.
Okay, sorry. Say that one more time. They crop the.
They just crop the top and bottom off.
Right.
But they also put the frames on the film closer together, so you get more more efficient use of your film.
Right. That's interesting.
Now this was done with what's called a digital intermediate.
Okay. And what
that means is that that they shot on Super 35, then they scanned it into the computer.
Right.
And then they did all their editing and color grading and stuff.
That would be an interesting machine. I'd like to see that machine in action. The film scanning
telecine machine?
Is that what it's called?
It's called a telecine machine.
Telecine?
Yes.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up.
It looks a lot like a tape recorder, actually.
That's kind of what I'm imagining, actually. Like, it's cool because it's got a like.
Essentially, what it is it's a fancy project. It's essentially a camera pointing at a projector.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's a bit more complicated than that, but that's essentially what it is.
That's...
So they scanned it into the computer. They did all their edits and color grading, and then they put it back out onto film.
Sick.
For projection and theater or whatever. And I think that it was like, I don't know, it was pretty interesting to me because like, and I think Seth Rogen had a good quote on this about like, what did he say? But like, anyway, this movie was shot like better than I would have expected it to have been done.
Yeah. Who is
like,
the
cinematographer was a guy named Tim Orr.
Yeah, and I looked briefly into him. It looks like he did a lot of work with the director of this film. Like he did all his early films.
Yeah.
But not
most of which I have not
exactly.
seen.
Me too. So I can't really speak to them. But
it's like. But anyway, like, what was it? Sorry.
What was it that Seth Rogen said?
So he said, even people who hate the movie admit that it's shot well.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, like I completely agree. I mean, I don't hate the movie.
No,
it's all right. It's that like the lighting is like very dramatic and everything. It looks sort of different than your average comedy.
It looks better. It looks more dramatic. I don't know. It just looks
exactly. Like, I mean, a lot of that comes down to the lighting and the wide aspect ratio.
Yeah, exactly. And just like the cinematography is good. It is nice.
Yeah. So there's actually a good section on IMDb that gives you a lot of this information. I don't know how accurate it is.
Right. Yeah,
but,
IMDb is not good at... I think I should invest in IMDb Pro, maybe, because they might give you more information on their sources, but they're really bad at telling you about their sources.
I mean, specifically, they seem to even list, like, the specific film stock that they used.
That's awesome.
But I do notice that they don't list a black and white film here, though, which is interesting, because the intro is in black and white.
So it's probably
So
digital.
they use two film stocks that I notice here. It's Kodak Vision 2 100T and Vision 2 500T. So that they have a low ISO and a high ISO film. The T is because it's indoor film.
Right.
Like it's for indoor lighting, tungsten lighting. Tungsten balanced is what I meant to say.
So it seems to me that, but they would have shot. They would have shot in black and white. Is what I'm trying to say. It seems to me that they would have shot in black and white as opposed to digitally alter it because the scene it seems like it was written to be in black and white.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is also like from the point of view of the, you got to buy film, right?
Yeah, right.
Do you really want to buy a different kind of film?
Right. Or do you want to just
instead of just
slide a fader over in post?
Exactly. It's like, we get this film in bulk. We get a bulk deal here. It's like if we want to buy a different kind of film, that's going to cost more.
Yeah, it's true. Really, it just comes down to it's stupid to do that when you could just slide those fucking
But I mean, even if you were doing it on film, 100% on film, it might even make sense to just like do it on film. Like, okay, so what you can do is you can take the color film and develop it as black and white as well.
Right. Yeah, right. You can. I'm not sure how that works, but it makes sense.
It's actually easier than developing it as color.
But it, again, makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it feels like color's just one more step, right? It's just what it feels like. I know that's not scientifically
I've never actually developed
accurate.
color film. It just seems too hard.
Right.
So I haven't tried, but
fair enough.
One day I might do it.
One day.
Yeah, so so next time you're looking at this movie, I'm going to ask you, was it shot on film or digital next time we do a movie?
Yes. So,
and then I'm also going to ask you, was it anamorphic or non-anamorphic? And that might be harder.
That'll be way harder, but I'm going to try and get
there is a way
I'm
to
going to
tell.
get good at it.
Just by looking at it.
I will learn. I'm going to get in practice.
Yeah.
Through trial and error, I'm sure.
Yeah, so if anybody else is wondering, like, how can you tell if a film is shot on film or digital, is that at the end of the credits, usually on the very bottom of the credits,
yeah,
it'll say, like, shot with, it'll say, for example, in this movie, we shot with Panavision cameras and lenses.
Yeah, I think.
But also, it said Kodak motion picture film.
I think Panavision is one people will definitely recognize seeing at the end of.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. It's at the end of a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually you'll see. Well, nowadays you only see Kodak, but back in the day you'll see Kodak or you see Fuji.
Why will you only see Kodak now?
Because Fuji doesn't make motion picture film anymore.
So there's only one? They have a monopoly on motion picture film?
They have a monopoly on motion picture film for Hollywood.
Ah, okay. What about Bollywood?
Sorry, I don't know. Does Bollywood still shoot on film? Probably some people do. Anyway, there are a couple other manufacturers that do make motion picture film, but not to the same scale that Kodak does.
Right.
And in fact, Hollywood and Kodak have a deal, basically, to keep Kodak alive.
That's what I was just about to bring up. Like, that must be what's keeping them alive.
Yeah, essentially, a bunch of like directors who like to shoot on film got together and were like, "Okay, Kodak,
you're not going out of.
You are gonna keep making film. If you keep making film, we will keep shooting on it."
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that would be people like fucking Chris Nolan and Quentin Tarantino.
Your favorite people.
What?
Well, Chris Nolan's your favorite.
I don't think I dislike Quentin Tarantino.
No, I mean, that's a whole other fucking conversation.
What?
How do you feel about Quentin Tarantino is such a heavy question.
Yeah, I feel like maybe when we do a different movie.
We'll do a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, pulling it.
that I think that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and that's all I have to say about that. So, I think our final section about this movie before we get into our own final thoughts is this. We ended our last episode and we began this episode with a pretty fun song, a pretty good piece of music. Do you want to talk about that piece of music a little bit?
About Huey Lewis and the News?
Huey fucking Lewis and the goddamn news.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I guess Seth Rogen was just looking for somebody to write a song to go with this movie, and somehow he came upon Huey Lewis, which is like interesting because I never realized Huey Lewis was such a huge fucking blazer. You know, I laugh every time I hear Huey Lewis say "chronic."
Yeah.
In that song,
or chill.
It's so funny to me.
Just
sorry,
or chill. Just every lyric in that song. It's a hilarious song. It's a weird song. It's not good, but it's not.
No, it's fantastic.
I mean, it is fantastic. Like the music is great. The lyrics are like. I was. Let's just put it this way. I was underwhelmed with the quality of the lyrics.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of based like on what happens in the movie, I guess.
Very loosely, like
yeah. Well, I mean, most songs are.
Yeah, I guess it's like high people and something bad happens. That's the
whole fucking movie.
Good point. Good point.
So also we had a score. Oh
yeah.
And so that I actually thought that this stood out to me while I was watching the movie was the sort of, you know, fucking aggressive synth bits that were dispersed throughout the movie.
Yeah, I had to actually go back. I didn't notice that as much as you did, but I went back. Yeah, they were awesome.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's all
so
over the
those
place.
were all done by a guy named Graham Revell. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Revel.
Yeah, I don't know. You're asking.
Or even
guy.
Graham, or Graham.
It's spelled the weird way, but I'm pretty sure that's Graham.
Anyway, so he is a film composer, but he also fronted the industrial/electronic band SPK from 1978 to 1979.
I've never heard that band, but they sound very
I've never heard of them
industrial.
before either, but they sound pretty pioneering. Like
yeah, that's if you've got just letters in your name in the 1980s.
That's hardcore.
That's hardcore, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think that kind of lineage definitely feeds into this the kind of music you'll hear in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like let me play you a sample here.
Yeah.
So this is during the car chase.
Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like fucking some really stoned fucking dude listening to that and being really fucking paranoid.
Well, speaking of Quentin Tarantino, looks like Graham Revell did From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at his
Yeah, he's done a
career,
lot.
and yeah, well, he's done a lot of action movies, like his Street Fighter, Tomb Raider, 2001 Tomb Raider, Daredevil, 2003. Sin City.
Yeah.
He did the Riddick franchise, so yeah, kind of. Yeah, cool.
I mean, certainly fits a sort of action vibe.
Yeah, and that synth like It's awesome.
So also in the soundtrack we have Eddie Grant Electric Avenue, which starts the movie off.
Yeah, yeah. That I really got really into that song after I first saw this movie.
Yeah, we have stoner classic Cypress Hills, Dr. Green Thumb.
Oh, that band.
Yeah, I know. I got a couple other things. Some fucking Peter Tosh.
Classic
Shit like that. So also another song that is not in this movie, but is associated with this movie.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing a lot back around the time this movie was made.
Yeah, exactly.
Was Paper Planes by MIA?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a weird association.
I don't have that on the soundboard. I don't know. Do we really need to play it?
No, we don't need to play it. Everyone knows what it is.
You know the song. I mean, because it's not on the soundtrack, because I got the soundtrack, and it's not on it.
Exactly. It's not on the soundtrack. It was in it.
It's not part of the soundtrack.
It was in a trailer for the film.
Yeah.
And apparently MIA said about it, she was like, yeah, because it was just the trailer. I was just like, yeah, sure, whatever, you can use it. But had it been in the film, I probably would have wanted to look at the film a bit more.
Oh, she didn't even...
So I think she might have been. She didn't necessarily love the association.
Right. Yeah.
But she that wasn't to say that she necessarily didn't like it. It's just
I mean,
it's funny.
I might seem a bit unfair, but I think that's kind of on her.
Yeah, I mean, you signed off on it,
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
It's not I think that wasn't that movie more associated with Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in the song in that movie? Am I totally making that up?
I don't know. I don't know actually.
Anyway.
I don't know. They both came out around the same time, and I remember hearing this song a lot.
Yeah. I think it was in Slumdog Millionaire. I think it was nominated for an Oscar. No, well, not this song.
Okay, but it did. It earned a Grammy nomination.
Paper Planes, Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah, it was in there.
It was in it. Okay.
Yeah, it was in there.
Right. Okay.
There you have it, folks. The connection between Slumdog Millionaire and Pineapple Express is closer than you thought.
Did they come out in the same year?
Yeah, I think they did. 2008. I think
2008. They both came out in 2008.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Classics.
A couple of 2008 classics of the...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we've kind of exhausted our...
We've exhausted everything there is to say about this movie.
Yeah, and then some.
Or almost everything.
Almost everything. We've reached our final thoughts portion of the episode. And I mean... It's more of a summing up in this episode, I think.
Yeah, because I think we already kind of gave our thoughts on this movie.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
It was all right.
Yeah, there's not a lot to dig into.
I laughed.
Yeah. I would say especially I've seen this movie too many times at this point. But I
think most of the times I've seen this movie, it's been with you.
Yeah, exactly. I've too many times. And it came out right as I was going into my, right as I started smoking weed, basically. And I was a young teenager, so it was perfect.
I mean, it came out a little bit before that.
A little bit before that, it's true.
Yeah.
But the point is it was there when I started, so...
Yeah.
I've seen it too many times.
Sorry, no, you weren't smoking any weed. It was illegal, right?
Oh, yeah, totally illegal, yeah. I didn't smoke weed until 2018.
So you weren't doing that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't smoke weed until Justin legalized it.
Until Justin said I could.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Thank you, Justin. But yeah, I was cackling for the first half of the movie, I think. There's a lot of hilarious little things in there. The second half of the movie, I think it kind of loses me just in terms of as I said, I've seen it so many times, so I'm a bit desensitized to the action.
Yeah.
But it is fun. But yeah, it's not a great film. Take it or leave it at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much with you there. I don't know, like it definitely goes really off the rails near the end.
Yeah,
Like the whole scene in the bunker.
yeah. It's a bit much.
It's a bit much of like the fight. Oh, I completely even forgot. Like fucking Dale got his ear bitten off or whatever.
Well, he gets his ear shot off, and then
No, he gets his ear shot off, and then it gets bitten.
yeah, exactly. And then Ted bites his shot off ear.
Ear.
And, like the scene where, like, honestly,
Oh, I do want to say that the ear makeup was very convincing to
it
me.
was very good. Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah.
No schnickel,
Very good
snickle fritz
prosthetics.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it was. It was just like you can really tell, I think, at a certain point that the dialogue just like goes so downhill in terms of just like having any value. Because I mean, Seth Rogen's dialogue during action sequences is not good. Like, he's not a good action actor just because it's not his thing. But it's fair to like it. He just says what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, car, trees, squirrel. Like, he just says things in front of him.
I mean, to a certain extent, that's on the writing, which is also him.
Which is also him, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the writing just really falls apart, and I think it's clear it's just like they're just wrapping up the story. The writing was not important there. It's like, but you kind of want a bit more from the second half of this movie.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's if you build up enough effort to want anything from it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the one thing I kind of think like that. I don't know. I think the movie kind of leans like really heavily into sort of like buddy comedy cliches to a certain extent.
How do you mean?
I mean, the whole like arc of the movie is very much like, you know, two guys who like aren't like, you know, a little bit of friction at first, and then they get to know each other, and then they fucking then they have a falling out, and then
it follows the exact arc. Yeah,
it follows the exact like pattern.
Yeah, it's
a bit formulaic in that sense.
Extremely unoriginal.
Yeah,
in that sense. But yeah,
and then there's also some like kind of weird things in the movie. Like, we didn't even mention his like fucking teenage girlfriend, which is like really weird.
Yeah, I mean, he was supposed to be a shithead. Like, he's supposed to be gross, I think.
Yeah, but that's not the way that that's not the way he plays him.
I know, it doesn't really come across. It doesn't,
because like Seth Rogen just seems like such a nice guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's because he wasn't supposed to be Dale.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's we've said all we can say and then some. Again.
Yeah. It's fine. You know, if you're looking for a laugh, watch it. You know.
Yeah. Don't like.
Otherwise, don't. Like, it's fine.
Like Jake watched it sober. Well, he might have had a beer or two. Like, I didn't do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I didn't.
Pretty much sober, yeah.
I piled it on when I watched this movie. And even then, I was like, the second half was a bit of a slog.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. As a stoner movie, it's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Final review, as it might be.
Sure beats half.
It might be the best stoner movie. I don't know. I'll rewatch Harold and Kumar and get back to you on that one.
Yeah.
All right.
The first one or the second one?
Well, fuck the second one. Or anything past the first one. I don't know.
No place to hang out or washing, and then I can't blame all on the sun. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Working so hard like a soldier, can't afford a thing on TV. Deep in my heart I abhor ya. Can't get food for that kid. Good God. Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.